Very much the right move for the Milwaukee Bucks. They've been desperate to get younger. They needed to get younger. Appreciate and pay homage to Khris Middleton because they don't win a championship.
Khris Middleton didn't get hurt in the playoffs in 22. The Bucks were awesome that year. They lost in 7, up losing in 7 to Boston. It might have been the Bucks trying to win back-to-back championships.
Did the Milwaukee Bucks just wave the white flag on their championship hopes? Trading Khris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma has left fans stunned, analysts shocked, and even Giannis frustrated. Is this a genius financial move, or a sign that Milwaukee is giving up on winning now? Let's break down the real reason behind this shocking trade, because trust me, it's not what you think. The Bucks traded Khris Middleton to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma and Patrick Baldwin Jr. On paper, this might seem like a basketball decision, but it's really all about money and saving the team's future flexibility. Here's how. Khris Middleton was a key figure in the Bucks' 2021 championship run. He hit clutch shots, provided consistent scoring, and was a perfect complement to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
But for me, Khris is my brother. I'm going to have a relationship with him after basketball. So the organization was depending on us. The city was depending on us. You know, our teammates were depending on us. I remember all those moments.
But fast forward to 2025, and his hefty contract has turned into a significant problem for Milwaukee. Middleton was set to earn $31.7 million this season, making him one of the highest-paid players on the team. While that salary is justified for a star in his prime, Middleton has struggled to return to that level since undergoing surgery on both ankles. Here's where it gets tricky. Middleton's contract wasn't just expensive, it pushed the Bucks deep into the luxury tax. The luxury tax is a system the NBA uses to penalize teams that spend above a certain salary threshold.
That time a finish by Trey.
Wow, somebody can dunk on that basket.
Nice assist for Kuzma's first of the game.
For every dollar a team spends over that limit, they have to pay additional penalties. The more a team exceeds the limit, the higher the penalties climb. For the Bucks, this meant millions of dollars in extra payments just to keep Middleton on the roster. But it doesn't stop there. The NBA introduced even stricter rules under its new collective bargaining agreement, the second tax apron.
Getting under the second apron, now you can aggregate players and trades from a salary perspective again. I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks are done. I think they're probably looking around and saying, what can we do if we maybe combine Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis? They still have their 2031 first-round pick unprotected. That's a key detail here.
Think of it as a hard limit for overspending. If a team crosses this second apron, they lose critical tools to improve their roster. For example, they can't sign mid-season free agents or buyout players. They can't trade for players and bring back more salary than they send out. They're limited in trading future draft picks, which can hurt their ability to plan long-term. For the Bucks, being over the second apron was a nightmare. It was choking their ability to make moves, and their future flexibility was vanishing. Middleton's $31.7 million cap hit was the main culprit, leaving Milwaukee with almost no breathing room. This is where Kyle Kuzma comes in. By trading Middleton for Kuzma, whose contract counts at $23.5 million, the Bucks saved about $8 million in salary. But here's the real kicker. This move also reduced their luxury tax bill by a staggering $30 million. That's a massive financial relief, especially for a team that's already spent heavily on Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard.
Now with Kyle Kuzma, you got a bit younger, you certainly got healthier, and it's one of those situations where now he gets to play with purpose. I like the move for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they did the right thing, and I think this obviously puts them in the mix to be every bit as formidable as we would hope any team with Giannis and Damian Lillard would be.
In the end, this trade wasn't about improving the team's current performance. It was about freeing up financial resources, avoiding the harsh penalties of the second apron, and staying flexible for future moves. This trade got some big reactions. Shams called it a money-saving move dressed up as a basketball trade. While the Bucks lose a player who's been a big part of their success, they gain the ability to reshape their roster and prepare for the long haul. This trade couldn't wait. The Bucks are at 26-22, and for a team that paired Damian Lillard with Giannis Antetokounmpo, that record screams underperformance. They're hovering in the middle of the Eastern Conference standings, and being mediocre was never the plan. This roster was built to dominate, not to struggle for playoff positioning. Sitting 2 games behind the Indiana Pacers for the 4th seed, they're not even guaranteed home court advantage in the first round. The hope was that Khris Middleton's return from surgery would stabilize things. But it hasn't worked out that way. Middleton hasn't looked like the all-star they relied on during their 2021 championship run. Yes, there have been flashes of his old form, like his recent stretch where he scored 20 points in 3 of 4 games. But those moments have been overshadowed by inconsistencies, like the 2 games where he went completely scoreless during their rough 1-3 road trip.
Conversions to front of 8.
Tucker said we didn't change a whole lot, just with much more activity on defense.
This team isn't just losing games, it's losing its identity. Their defense, once a hallmark of the Bucks, has been inconsistent. Even their offense, with Lillard and Giannis leading the way, hasn't been as explosive as expected. Middleton was supposed to be the steady hand, the guy who could create shots and hit big ones in clutch moments. But with lingering physical issues, he hasn't been able to fill that role. With the trade deadline looming, the Bucks couldn't afford to wait and hope things would magically improve. They had to act now, not just for this season, but to prevent further damage to their long-term flexibility. This trade wasn't just about replacing Middleton. It was about giving the Bucks a chance to pivot and fix their season before it's too late. This trade isn't just about shaking things up for this season. It's about setting the Bucks up for the future. Next year, Kyle Kuzma's contract will decrease to $22.5 million, which gives Milwaukee much-needed breathing room to handle their financial situation.
Milwaukee obviously feels like they need to inject some new life into that core.
Hey, Sam.
With this additional flexibility, the Bucks can focus on retaining key players, like Brook Lopez, or even explore the market for new talent. Lopez, as their defensive anchor, has been critical to their success, and keeping him around will be a priority. Compare that to Khris Middleton's situation. He had a $33.3 million player option for next season. That means Middleton could have chosen to stay and collect that massive paycheck, regardless of his performance. For the Bucks, committing to that kind of financial hit, especially for a player who hasn't fully bounced back from injuries, was a risk they just couldn't take. Moving Middleton now ensures they avoid that burden.
We got Kuzma. He's a good player. I think he could definitely help us. He left room in there for us to be able to go get another piece also, so I like.
And gives them the chance to reallocate those resources. But here's the tough pill to swallow. This trade feels like Milwaukee admitting their current roster isn't built to win a championship. By trading Middleton, they're essentially saying, we don't believe this team can compete at the highest level right now. That's a sobering reality for a franchise that made huge moves to bring in Damian Lillard with championship aspirations in mind.